That was so unnecessary and so weird.
How do we know if he's really unconscious? Cut stomach open. He's
The
good.
way it just slowly slid up his entire body, I was just like, okay.
Like, this is a box cutter. It's not.
Yeah. It's like, why is it so sharp?
Literally, who sharpened this box cutter? This is...
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to It Takes Two. I'm Quinlan.
And I'm Emily.
And today we're doing a movie review. We are taking it back a little bit. It's not some brand new release or anything. Didn't really see anything that we wanted to go see immediately, so we were like, let's just go something we haven't seen before. So, we did Green Room 2015 by A24 is the... Yeah, this movie, it's got a weird premise. I mean, the description is...
I was expecting more of a horror movie, and it definitely is more of a thriller for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
To be fair, I didn't read any summaries going into this. Quinlan was just like, Green Room? Horror movie about a rock band? And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do it.
No, literally, and this is the entire summary. I will read it for you. I am on the IMDb page. And the entire description is: a punk rock band is forced to fight for survival after witnessing a murder at a neo-Nazi skinhead bar. Period.
Well, that's exactly what happens. So
like that's it. I mean, so
I don't know. I kind of like the knockoff MGK.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Poor Tiger.
Yeah, poor Tiger.
Knockoff MGK named Tiger.
No,
love it.
Okay, so you know how, like, when you start watching a movie, obviously you immediately head into, like, where do I know all these actors from? So the main guy, his name in the movie is Pat. His real name is Anton Yelchin, something like that. Okay, it's Russian, I believe, from what I read. I was like, oh, I've seen this guy in, like, older movies when he's a little bit younger. He is, I believe, the Spencer Reed's, like, prodigy, like, the cop.
Oh.
You know, like, he's in one episode, and he finds Spencer on the subway, and is like, what do I do if I start having, like, bad thoughts about women, and, like, this and that, and, like, he's, like, some creepy little kid that wants to start killing, and there's another kid.
I feel like I remember that.
He's in a Criminal Minds episode, and I hadn't really seen him in a whole lot, so I looked at, like, his whole, like, thing and read a little bit more about him. He died. That's why I haven't seen him anything. He died in
that's sad.
2016, so, like, right after this movie.
A year after this movie got released?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was some sort of freak accident.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah, he got crushed between his own Jeep and a building or some sort of structure. And nobody can confirm whether or not the Jeep was running or not.
So supernatural?
That's, like, exactly what I was thinking when I was reading this article about it. I was like, oh, like, why haven't I seen this guy in anything? And I was like, oh, he's deceased. Okay, that's sad. I wonder what happened. It's, like, vehicular, like, strange accident, murder, not murder, like, just freak accident is what they called it, because, like, they have no proof that anybody else, like, was involved. He just somehow was going to meet friends, like, called his buddies and was like, hey, like, we're gonna meet up here. And then he didn't show up, so his friends went to go figure out what happened, and he was dead.
Wow.
Just crushed between his car and some other sort of structure building. I don't really remember what it said, but...
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
What a way to start this episode.
Yeah! I was like, oh, I know this guy. Like, I've seen him in a few things. Oh, what are the other things? Odd Thomas is what he is in. Okay, I've seen that one. That was the other one that I was like, oh, I've seen this. So, sorry. Yes, this movie. Back to the movie, not this.
Back to the actual movie.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Anton. It was definitely classically A24.
Yeah.
So you had mid-2010s teal tan color grade over it.
very
Very aggressive.
blue, like the entire thing. Like,
Yep. And then I didn't like how dark some of it was. Like, I couldn't see parts
it
of it because it was
got
so
hard to
dark.
see. Yeah.
Specifically, when Tiger died, I was like, who's dying?
What's
I don't
happening?
know. And they're like, Tiger, and I didn't pick up his name was Tiger for
Oh.
most of this.
They have some weird names.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, not really. One of the guys' name is Tadpole, so
I was just, and the real thing I didn't like was the contrast between like them doing things and then the like classical montage music that would go over it, and things would like slow down and become dreamy. Like
yeah.
they'd be in the middle of their like aggressive hard rock show, which isn't great. It's not great.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it would just be like classical music, whimsy.
Their music was, it was, I mean, very punk rock, like, and they decided.
I mean, they couldn't be great because they are kind of an underground band that's
Yeah.
playing for $300 at a neo-Nazi bar.
Yeah. Like that's what they were doing, so. Oh, like, and they're so broke, like, so underground, so broke, they, like, shared a phone. Like, a couple of them shared a phone because they were like, someone was texting and someone's like, or calling or something. They're like, who are you calling? I pay the phone bill. Like, trying to get mad at the other person for using up all the minutes or juice or whatever you want to say on this phone, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, they shared a phone, or a couple of them shared a phone. I don't know if they all had their own phones or a phone plan together or whatever. Anyway, they siphoned gas from other people. Like, that's how they got gas to, like, drive. They, like, ran out of gas in the very beginning, and they decided to walk down the street or bike down the street and siphon gas out of somebody's car. I thought that was just so funny. Like,
well, when they only made $8 a piece in their first show.
Yeah, they were like, oh, great. Like, and Tadpole, he was like, $8.46 if you round up, or whatever it was. Like,
and then he gave him a little poster that he drew. Here.
Yeah. Here. I mean, it was funny. There was some weird random stuff that happened. Like, who knows, man?
Like the summary sums it up perfectly because it's just really random things that happen. Like, that's the only plot point. Oh, except for they're cooking drugs under the bar, the neo-Nazi bar.
Yeah.
That's why they can't let them leave. It's not because there was actually someone murdered.
It was because,
the drug lab.
They called the police, and so basically they get to this bar, they play their show, and they're on their way to leave, but they forgot something in the, like, dressing room. The green room, the dressing room, essentially. And they have run back in there, and then somebody's dead. Like, a knife to the head, dead. Like,
yeah, knife in the skull.
Yeah. And so we don't really know any of these people, but she's dead, so they call the police, and they're like, why the hell would you call the police? And then the guy that, like, the X-Men guy, whatever his name is, he's, like, the runner of this whole, like, type of stuff. He, like, keeps everybody in check, and essentially tells this guy to pay these other guys to stab each other. Because
there was a stabbing
reported, and so the cops were coming, and so, like, these two just, like, crazy twins.
I know, I was like, were they twins? Or did they just, like, look really similar?
They essentially just stabbed each other. So that there was a stabbing.
And then they were just standing there, like, waiting for the cops, and the cops were like, are you the victim? And he's like, yeah.
Like, it was so weird. But then they wouldn't let the people leave because drugs, cops, a stabbing, like, the whole thing. And I don't know, man. It was...
Here's my question. Whose first thought is, stab, skull?
Yeah.
Well, like, that's some Walking Dead type stuff.
Yeah, literally. Like, we find out why she was killed in the end, but it's just why was she killed there, and why was she killed with a stab to the skull? Like, that just seems unnecessary.
Yeah, because, like, it's kind of explained that it was, like, impulsively out of anger. But
Yeah.
this guy just, like, knifed her in the
Ah,
head? Like,
done. It was so weird. Oh, I loved when they played their little gig there. Their first song that they played, they were like, "F you Nazis," like that was the whole song.
yeah,
Like, here they are in a bar that they've never been,
that are already kind of threatening them.
that are already like super on edge about them and don't like them. And then they play a song that is literally just them screaming "screw you" the entire time. I'm surprised that's not why they got, like,
I know!
trapped and, like, were not
I
allowed
was
to
really
leave.
waiting for that to be the cause.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't.
And then at the end, when there's only a couple of them left, everybody's just like, yeah, let's go home. Let's start cleaning. Those two other guys can deal with the
Can
last
deal
couple
with
people.
Yeah. So eventually everybody's getting killed off, obviously, yeah. So they're down to the last two people alive. And so they're like, "Oh, these two random dudes can handle these two people. Whatever. One's almost dead anyway, like, what even happened to that guy's arm?"
I couldn't tell if it was like the dog got a hold of him.
But I didn't hear a dog in that part.
I couldn't, because she said something about there being something there
Yeah,
and
there's
to
multiple
like
people.
get away.
It
But
looked like some wire or something had been wrapped around his arm and just like filleted off. Because like his
yeah,
wrist was just like
it was like broken and
not even attached. So I'm just
no.
like, that's what my guess was, like some sort of like wire, like razor
Yeah.
thin wire, and they just like wrapped his arm. And so yeah, that was like first thing. They're like, oh shit, they are not messing around here. Like that happened like really early on.
And
And
all the deaths are like insta deaths. They're
yeah,
never like there's a fight. It's just like dead.
except for him, he was the only one that was like, dude, this guy like looks unwell after that because he's losing
Yeah.
tremendous amount of blood, you know.
Yeah.
And they duct taped it up, and after I just don't know how he made it as long, like
He's
he
not the
made
one
it.
that you should have survived, you know?
Yeah, I just after that type of like traumatic wound, I just could not see you surviving as long as he did, because it was still the
No.
next day like that they were fighting.
Yeah. It was also kind of wild that like the two people that survived were him and the other Nazi lady.
Yeah. So
So
she
the
was just the
Nazi
Nazi.
lady just survived.
But she realized how messed up all these people were, I guess, because she was like, "Let's kill
We
them all."
hope.
Like, I obviously
Because
she,
was it because they were Nazis that she's like,
or
no
she
more.
was like, "They killed my friend." Like,
Yeah.
and so because she was a Nazi and was with these other people, I mean, I feel like we just say Nazi like 80,000 fucking
I know,
times.
like, is that gonna be flagged for something? Who
yeah.
knows?
Let's say this bad guy. I don't know. Anyway, we had the feeling from the like I kept waiting for her to do something, like turn on the main character guy, like
Yeah.
pull something, because she was with them the entire time fighting for her life
She
with
was
them,
so suspicious.
and she was so suspicious the entire time. And maybe because who she was associated with, like that's
Yeah.
why I was suspicious the entire time. But yet she never did. Like,
I thought she was just gonna go like crazy though, especially after she filleted that guy's stomach.
Yeah, that was so unnecessary and so weird.
How do we know if he's really unconscious? Cut stomach open. He's good.
The way it just slowly slid up his entire body, I was just like, okay.
Like, this is a box cutter. It's not.
Yeah. It's like, why is it so sharp?
Literally, who sharpened this box cutter? This is.
Yeah. It was something else. There was. Oh, the dogs. We haven't really talked about the dogs. We mentioned the dogs. But basically, these dogs knew German. They only listened to German commands. And they were like fighting, like fight dogs. And they were trained to kill. And so that is how some of these deaths happened, was literally these like scary dogs just came in and dead.
Yeah. Tiger and the girl.
The girl. Yeah, well no, and then the other guy too, didn't he?
I thought he like the dog
he came
grabbed
out the
him.
window. Oh, the guy came out the window and got stabbed a whole bunch of times.
Yeah. Because, like, he got grabbed by the dog, but then he got killed by somebody else, I think.
By another guy. Okay, gotcha.
It was all really dark every time somebody died.
Well, no, the girl got shot in the face, didn't she?
I thought that was the guy that was helping them.
I don't...
Because the guy got shot by the bartender in the, like,
yes,
head.
but then when they went outside, the two girls and the main guy, I think she had the shotgun, right? From the guy that just got shot in the face, and then she turned around, they ran outside, like, stormed out, and she got shot in the face.
I thought she just got, like, shot, and then she, like, got grabbed by a dog.
I don't know, but yeah, she died.
But I think she got her throat out from the dog, but we're not sure.
We're not sure. But violent, either way.
Yes.
So
I feel like we should preface that basically this entire movie...
Penelope! Jeez.
Okay, I feel like we should preface that this movie is basically like 25 minutes of them just existing and making it to the show and then playing this show. And then from that point on, it's like 15 minutes of them panicking in the green room of like, what do we do? How do we get out of here? And then from that point, it's just like, okay, let's sneak out. Somebody dies. Let's run back. Let's sneak out. Somebody dies. And just back and forth until it's morning, and then the guys are like, let's go home while these people clean up the mess.
They're like, these two people are pretty much dead anyway. But they decided to... his pep talk, the whole paintball pep talk that he gave, they decided to treat it like a game and not treat it like it was life or death.
Because that helped, right?
Because that helped. They drew like war paint on. The guy shaved his head so he could look like he was associated with the bad group of people. Trying to not say it as much.
I don't know if we're too far gone at this point.
Yeah, literally. So he buzzed his head so that it looked like he was one of the other guys. And then somehow they managed to kill two of the Nazis. And they were like, let's escape now, we have a gun. So,
and then the last guy's just like, I want to be arrested.
He's like, I don't want anything to happen to me at the hands of these people, so take me to jail.
Yep. And then they just like finish off all the rest of the bad guys. Mr. X-Men goes running and they just shoot him in the back.
Yep. Multiple times. Too. He was not going down.
It was like one of those slow-mo things, like...
Yeah. Yep. Just taking his time. One part that made me really sad was the dog at the end.
Oh, yeah.
He just, like, crawled up. Okay, so the dogs are obviously bad dogs, but they couldn't have been bad dogs without their bad dog trainer, you know?
Yeah.
And so once the trainer guy got killed, the dog was just like, aw, and laid down. It was so sad.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to eat you. He just told me to eat you. I'm gonna go lay with him.
Yeah. So that was pretty sad.
And then it just kind of ends. They're just like waiting for cops.
Waiting for the cops to come. And I mean, that's the end of the movie. It was pretty intense.
Yeah. Not a ton of like crazy plot points, but just like a lot of intense action.
Yeah. Cuz like there's not a whole ton of dialogue. Like obviously there's a lot of them freaking out and trying to like arguing over how they're going to escape, but other than that, like not much plot to it.
No.
Essentially.
It was good though. Like it's something I definitely watch again.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like probably my first thing, but like I'd recommend it to someone. It's not something that's bad.
Yeah, if somebody likes gory, fast-paced movies, then yeah, I would say
Yeah.
for sure. Another funny thing that happened was how they found this bar was through this guy named Tadpole. Okay. And so Tadpole did a little interview with them, and he like asked like, what is your desert island band? Like, what band would you listen to if you could only listen to one, forever? And that kind of comes up a few times, like going along with like the lack of dialogue. Somehow this idea of your desert island band came up multiple times.
Yeah.
And then it's like the very last thing they say too in the movie is the girl or the guy, he hadn't been able to name a band that he wanted, like that was his band, that he wanted to listen to forever. But in the very end, he says, I know what it is. And the girl's like, what is it? Or like, what is what? And he's like, my desert island band. And she was like, tell somebody who gives a shit. Like, and so like we never really get to know this guy's desert island band because.
But like, why was that even a plot point?
I don't know. It was so random. It was so funny though. Like that ending, like that was like almost the last line. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Was like she was just like, tell somebody who gives a shit. Like we just killed a bunch of people. Like I don't give a crap what you're.
I like though that she listened to his paintball story, but then didn't care about that.
Yeah, his desert island band. Because like everybody named theirs, and like they did it multiple times throughout the movie because like they're preparing themselves for death. And then no, the guy was like, I know what it is. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, what is what? And he's like, desert island band. She's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially the movie. Like, I feel like our movie episodes, they end up kind of short, but if we sat down and played you everything scene for scene, like, what would be the point, you know?
Yeah, and like we could pad this always with like clips of the things, but we'd rather have you experience the movie yourself than just be like, here's the one interesting thing we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want you to watch the movie before you've watched the movie.
Yeah, you don't want to know, like, obviously we did talk about who survives and all of that, but it's how they get there, you know? It's you gotta see it. It's not something that we can just tell you every second of the movie and show you how it is, you know? I mean, we didn't even see some parts because they were so dark, so.
Literally. And, like, I take it under the same thing of, like, I'll Google the way a movie ends while I'm watching the movie. But that doesn't necessarily ruin my enjoyment of the movie because I still haven't seen it happen. I just know.
Emily is absolutely the best at Googling the end of the movie before the end of the movie.
Hey, at least I don't, like, tell you what it is.
No. She's just like, oh, yeah, I know what happened. So we're like, okay, whatever.
Okay, well, it's more of like I really like predicting movies, and I think I'm pretty decent at it, okay?
So you want to know right now.
I want to know if I'm right. Waiting. I need to be validated, okay?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I get you.
Hey, if I can call Final Destination, I gotta know if I can call anything else.
For sure. I love that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it, Emily. I'm glad you are the way you are.
Thanks. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be friends, because I wouldn't be this weird, but you know. It's fine.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't change me either, you know? I'm happy with that.
You're like, I'm just gonna stick with it, yeah.
Maybe like a couple more inches, I'd take that, but like, okay. Other than that.
Who needs them?
So, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, peace out, Cub Scout.